It's Sunday, the 18th of May, 2025, the sacred day of rest, unless you work in showbiz. I'm currently en route to film a show for the prestigious Raie Copp Academy at the one and only Ponty Art Centre. For those who may be interested, I'm driving a black Landrover Defender. That sounds like a tank and looks like I'm off to invade somewhere, except that I am off to film young children. It's so unusual to see such a beautiful sunny day in Wales. I actually love making these vlogs when it's sunny, as the footage of the GoPro outside the car should look fantastic. On the right is the Bishop Gore School, a fine institution where dreams are made, homework ignored, and the smell of Lynx Africa hangs permanently in the air. I know exactly why the speed limit outside UK schools is always 20 miles per hour. It's probably because teenagers have a habit of appearing out of thin air whenever double maths is on the timetable. On the left is a tennis court and a traditional British bowls green, right next to each other, like some sort of national age segregation system. On one side, you've got the young people playing tennis, all energy, sweatbands, and unnecessary grunting. Next to it is a bowls green, where the over 70s are locked in slow-motion battle, armed with sun hats, thermos flasks, and a level of calm that says, "I've seen 4 recessions. I fear nothing." It's basically a before and after snapshot of the human life cycle, like nature's way of saying, here's what stress will do to you over time. Raie Copp Academy has been a client of mine for many years, and I've had the privilege of filming all their dance and musical theater performances. I believe today's show may be a musical theater performance. I say this because they usually hold all their dance productions at the theater, which is significantly larger than the Ponty Art Centre. That makes sense, as the dance shows involve the entire school, whereas the musical theater productions are typically focused on the juniors. It's no surprise that their shows are always spectacular. Mel, who owns and runs Raie Copp Academy, has actually won numerous national awards for her choreography. What's remarkable is how humble she is about her achievements. Most people don't even know about them. In fact, I only found out when I happened to see a photo of her receiving one of her awards on social media. And even then, it wasn't from her. She doesn't even have a social media account. Her entire family is the same. Incredibly kind, grounded, and genuinely lovely people. Mel does so much for the children and their families, and it really shows. That's why Raie Copp Academy feels more like a large, close-knit family than a school. It's a real credit to Mel and the amazing environment she's created. I'm rolling into the Upland shopping area now, a lively hangout teeming with cafes, bars, and students expertly pretending to study, which mostly involves staring blankly at screens, occasionally highlighting random sentences and sipping oat lattes like they're fueling a thesis on espresso-based life choices. On the right, we've got a Tesco, a KFC, and a Burger King all lined up like they're in some kind of fast food Avengers team up. And on the left, a lone Subway holding its ground like, you want salad with that existential crisis? Honestly, if you're hungry, hungover, or both, this place has your back. I went to a school tucked just behind that church. It was a small private school, and by small I mean the kind of place where everyone knew your name, your family tree, your weird rash from year 6, and exactly how many marks you lost on that maths test because you forgot to carry the 1. There were no secrets, just silent judgment passed down like a family heirloom, and enough Latin homework to make ancient Romans rise from the grave and say, "Mate, chill." It was also very strict, which was a nightmare for someone like me, as I hate being put in a box. No wonder I would do anything to escape from the school. I was basically planning my escape in year 7. And I did escape, repeatedly. My most daring escape was to climb up a 15-meter-high drain pipe at the back of the gym building. Just imagine how a monkey would climb up a drain pipe. That's exactly how I was doing it. Once on the roof, from there, I'd leap onto the neighbor's property, which just happened to be a funeral parlor, and then I was free to wander around the town during lunchtime, and then get back before the bell went to get back to the classroom. The teachers could never work out why I was sweaty when there was no running allowed in the school premises. So technically, it was impossible for any pupils to be sweaty during school hours. Honestly, it felt less like skipping school and more like the Great Escape. In front, you'll spot a big blue round building. That's Swansea Police Station. I actually think it's got a bit of style and love how it looks. I'm a big fan of anything that stands out from the crowd. This also explains the choice of my cars. At one point in my life, I owned a beach buggy. Yes, an actual beach buggy. Now, unless you live in sunny California, where people casually drive them to juice bars wearing flip-flops and surfer hair, you're probably not entirely sure what that is. So let me paint you a picture. Imagine a bathtub. Now give it some chunky wheels, a tiny windscreen that was basically there for decoration, and an engine that sounded like a lawnmower with ambition. That was my car. It looked like something a toddler would draw if you asked them to design a vehicle for Batman on a beach holiday. Driving it was an experience. Every trip felt like an adventure. It didn't matter if I was just going to the shops. I felt like I was on the set of Mad Max, Seaside Edition. People would stare as I drove past, either in awe or confusion, occasionally both. Dogs barked at it. Children pointed. Pensioners waved as if I was part of a traveling circus. But here's the thing. It had no roof. Just open air and hope. So whenever it rained, which, let's face it, in the UK is basically always, I had two options: speed up and hope to outrun the clouds, or accept my fate and prepare to get soaked. I often sat there wondering if the built-in drainage holes would save me, or if I should just start carrying around a snorkel and inflatable armbands. There was one time I genuinely considered installing a bilge pump. Honestly, if I'd driven through a deep puddle, there was every chance I'd float away like some kind of slightly tragic water-themed parade float. But despite all that, maybe even because of it, it was one of the most fun cars I've ever had. I mean, how many people can say they've hydroplaned through a Tesco car park in a bathtub with headlights? The show doesn't start until 3 p.m., but I'm heading down at 10 a.m., only because finding a parking space near the Ponty Art Centre is like competing in the Hunger Games, local edition. It's every man for himself. There's this one tiny alley round the back where everyone, and I mean everyone, tries to park because it's free. It's specially busy on Sundays as the churchgoers also use it. My problem is that if I don't park right outside the theater, it turns into a full-blown expedition. I've got somewhere between 10 to 15 professional video cameras, a battalion of tripods, and enough gear to film the next Avengers movie. If I'm parked close, I can unload everything in about half an hour. But if I'm even slightly further away, I might as well pack a lunch and hire a Sherpa. Back in the day when I used to film the panto at the Ponty Art Centre, the theater staff would actually put traffic cones out just for me, like my very own VIP celebrity parking, minus the red carpet. Honestly, I adore the team there, the staff, the management, even the ghosts in the lighting rig. Sadly, I had to scale back on the mountain of projects I was juggling, so I no longer film their shows. But I do miss them terribly, especially the VIP treatment. I've been filming Raie Copp shows for years now. Their Christmas pantos are absolute gold. They are mostly written by the kids themselves, which means they're hilariously unfiltered and more funny than most licensed shows. Another reason I adore their Christmas shows is because the kids get so ridiculously excited that I end up feeding off their energy. Happiness is contagious. Their dance shows are absolutely amazing. Honestly, it's like watching a professional touring company on stage. From the very first moment, you can tell how much time, effort, and passion has gone into every single performance. The dancers are incredibly disciplined, moving together so smoothly and confidently that it's hard to believe some of them are still so young. It's really no surprise when you consider that their teacher has won multiple awards for choreography. You can clearly see that expert guidance reflected in the routines.
In front of you stands the Swansea.com Stadium, formerly known as Liberty Stadium, a major landmark in the city and the proud home of Swansea City AFC. It regularly hosts high-energy football matches and large-scale events, drawing in crowds from all over the region. On match days, however, the area transforms into a hub of congestion and chaos. To add to the congestion, just after the final whistle, many fans make their way across the road to a popular fish and chip shop located on the left-hand side. This sudden surge of people trying to cross at once leads to long queues and further slows down traffic, creating a bottleneck that can last for quite some time after the match ends. The combination of event-related foot traffic and the lure of post-match food makes this stretch of road particularly difficult to manage on busy days. I honestly can't believe that bike shot across 2 lanes of traffic. What's worse is that it looked like he didn't even glance to see if a car was coming before moving across. It is crazy and really dangerous. The car that just sped past me would have hit him for sure had he been going just a little faster. Wow. Going back a few years ago, I get this frantic message from a good client at about midnight, sounding rather worried, asking whether I can urgently get another copy of the video I gave him tonight. He then went on to explain that he needed it for a cinema showing the next day. So, naturally, being the type of person I am, I said of course. Dashed to my office, created a new copy of the video, and jumped in the car and headed to his house. While going down via same dual carriageway, when I suddenly noticed a group of teenagers wearing all black walking dead in the middle of the road. I naturally slowed down, still nowhere near them, thinking, what's going on here? My first instinct was, oh dear, this must be a carjacking. After all, why else would a group of teenagers dressed all in black be walking in the middle of the road at 1 a.m. in the morning? I quickly locked all the doors, and at the same time trying to think of all the action movies I'd seen and what they did in these situations. But then realized I was no action hero. But then remembered seeing a movie where the action hero slowed down a lot, and as the bad people tried to get into the car, he sped up and drove off fast. So, I had a plan. I started to slow down to a crawl. My heart was racing at this point. I made eye contact with a few of the boys who then suddenly ran into the side of the road away from me. I then realized they are far from criminal masterminds. They're just drunk teenagers wandering home and not realizing they are walking in the middle of a dual carriageway. The funny thing is that when they got off the road, they started shouting at me, not with abuse, but to say how much they liked my car. Ponty Art Centre, like most theatres in Wales right now, is going through what can only be described as a midlife crisis, but in the best possible way. Not content with just a splash of fresh paint and some long overdue TLC, they've decided to go full makeover mode. We're talking full-on transformation montage, brand new facilities, updated spaces, and a shiny new dedicated cinema area completely separate from the main theatre. This is, in fact, the trendy new move sweeping through theatres across Wales. Everyone's doing it. Take Porthcall's Grand Pavilion Theatre, for instance. It closed last year for a major refurbishment, prompting most local dance and drama schools to migrate to the Princess Royal Theatre in Port Talbot and the Sony Theatre in Bridgend. A solid plan, until this year, when both of those venues also announced their own much-needed refurbishments. The Princess Royal Theatre has already closed for a full overhaul, and the Sony Theatre is set to close later this year. Some dance schools have even had to skip this year altogether because they simply couldn't find a theatre to host their shows. Oh dear, I just realized I'm in the wrong lane. Now, if this was the Porsche, I could easily out-accelerate the other cars and pull up in front of them, but I know the Defender is one of the slowest cars on the road, so I have no chance. I just hope somebody in the other lane let me out. Oh, come on, somebody let me out. Let me out! Ah, thank you. Something I've noticed is that quite often when someone is trying to change lanes, the car behind will actually speed up to stop them from pulling out in front, even when there's plenty of space for them to do so. It's crazy because people can clearly see you indicating and they're still a fair distance back, so they could easily let you out. But for some reason, they choose to speed up instead. God, it's such a beautiful day today. I can't believe how blue the sky is, and the sun. We don't see the sun very often here in Wales, so it's really nice to have a warm, sunny day. Usually, it's just raining. It feels quite strange coming this way in summer. For years, I only ever used to travel through here in midwinter, usually while filming the Ponty Panto. My memories of this road are always tied to the colder months, gray skies, bare trees. So to see it now with bright green trees lining the roads and a clear blue sky overhead feels so beautiful. It's as though I'm driving through a different place entirely. I remember one year I had just finished filming the final performance of the pantomime, and I stepped out of the theater late at night to find that it had snowed heavily while I was inside. The transformation was remarkable. I went into the theater in the morning, and the town looked like any normal day. By the time I filmed 2 shows and came out, it was late at night, with all the streets covered in snow. The roads were completely white and slick with ice. I was incredibly thankful to be in the Defender that night. I think it's the first time ever I used the diff lock to plow through the snow and ice. The Ponty Art Centre itself has always held a special place in my heart. It's an old-fashioned theater with real character. Over the years, I've come to appreciate the charm and atmosphere it brings to every production stage there. There are not many traditional theaters left in the UK. Even with the refurbishment that is currently being carried out, it has still retained its traditional looks. This is why I love making these videos, as they are such amazing memories for years to come. It just reminded me of when I used to have much larger video cameras, so I used to carry them in these heavy-duty Pelican cases that in itself were quite heavy. So to load them into the car, I actually used to use a winch inside the car that would pull the trolley onto a couple of ramps and into the Defender. Then, when I got to the theater, I had to make sure I had enough space to place the ramps behind the Defender, and then the trolley could roll out. This was one of the reasons the theater management used to put cones out for me to reserve enough space for me to be able to unload the car.
Funny story. For the past couple of years, I've been taking these pre-workout drinks before every one of my morning weight training. It was loaded with caffeine. It would always give me a little boost to get me through the session and make me feel like a superhero for 45 minutes. I have been taking this every day for over a year, thinking I was just super committed to fitness, not realizing that in reality, I was probably 1 scoop away from vibrating into another dimension. Then, about a month ago, I went to the dentist for a routine checkup. You know, the usual don't forget to floss chat, and mid-conversation he casually mentioned I had a slight tremor. Not a little nervous twitch, more like my head and hands had entered their own Zumba class. I laughed it off at the time, but when I got home, curiosity got the better of me, and I finally read the label on the pre-workout tub, something I probably should have done before treating it like a daily vitamin. Turns out, it's loaded with caffeine, like industrial levels, and in bold letters it says, "Do not take more than once per day and cycle off after 4 weeks of use." Meanwhile, there I was, cheerfully chugging it every day like it was orange squash and occasionally double dosing like a mad scientist with a dumbbell obsession. No wonder I had the shakes. I wasn't just working out, I was basically auditioning to become a human jackhammer. The strange thing is that when I came off the pre-workout, my shake got a lot worse for the first 2 weeks. Then, now the shake started to get a lot less. I have been off the pre-workout drink for a month now, and the tremor has almost completely stopped. I only recently realized that all these years I have been traveling to the Ponty Art Centre, I was taking the wrong road. At the roundabout, I would always follow the sign pointing towards Ponty City Centre, as that's where the art center is, with the assumption that following the sign to the city center was the right thing to do. But what I didn't realize back then was that if I had simply gone straight at the roundabout and then first left, the road would have brought me directly to the back of the theater. much more convenient and far less time-consuming. Following the signage to the city center is not only the longer route, but there is a no right turn at the traffic light just before city center, which actually stops all cars from going to city center. So cars have to go straight past the traffic light, make a U-turn somewhere, then come back to the traffic light and turn left. It's crazy. This is the roundabout where I need to go forward instead of turning left. It's first left here, and then I need to go all the way to the end of the road, then turn left again at the T-junction. Hopefully, I will see the Ponty Art Centre. Oh my goodness, that church in front reaching up into the blue sky looks so divine and spiritual. It's like a painting.
So this is Ponty Art Centre. It's actually beautiful. They're completely renovating it. Let me show you what they've done so far. Apparently they've spent £2 million renovating their building. So obviously everything is painted. It's all Rachel. So this is the foyer. The bar used to be here, and they've opened that section up so it goes into the studio. They moved the bar there. It's opened up a lot. Let's go to a foyer. I'll show you the foyer. Oh, you can't see it from here. Let's see if I can get through. So this is what they're working on. Reception used to be there, but it's now here. You can see, obviously these are, I think, insulation. So they've got another bar here now. This used to be blocked off, I think. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but they're building a cinema as well. A dedicated cinema. So you see the cinema sign up there. It's looking stunning. So this obviously was the entrance, main entrance before, which still is, but it's all been blocked off because of the work they're doing. Let's go. Let's go around there. Look. So let's go upstairs. Hi, how are you? Sorry. So, as you can see, it's all freshly painted. They used to have photos of people, dignitaries that have been here or are involved with the theatre all the way up there. So we're now going into the balcony area. So this is the balcony area. It's really beautiful. Right. Just gonna do some filming of them getting ready now.